You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about this one here tonight on Sportswire Radio, live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform where literally all music and wrestling matters. Because you might want to say our guest is named Flesh Wound, but he's going to talk about a show next weekend that's going to create plenty of flesh wounds, which you might want to say is going to be the last tournament on the left. And everybody talked about famously during COVID, the last dance, the Chicago Bulls, the final season. But for some of our deathmatch wrestlers that have come on this platform, it might be their last dance. It might be their last match. Well, how about one guy in particular, Sergeant Jimmy Controversy? Yeah, we're going to talk about him. He's always front and center. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about some other names in the past that we've mentioned, like The Body. You definitely know him. We'll talk about some others that you may have not heard of, but you'll find out about now. Plus, who knows whatever else. And we'll introduce you to our guest because he is going to tell us what's ahead here next weekend in California. And yeah, we're going to get into that in the Golden State because let me tell you, some heads, well, they're going to see some golden crisp red marks on it after what we see next week. And I'm very excited about it. Plus, even for our guest, I've got a little something for him. No, it's not a kendo stick. No, it's not a barbed wire wrapped with a chair. No, it's not thumbtacks or anything else. We're going to save that for next week. And I got something for him. It's nice and easy. We'll also promote his own podcast. He had some really, really big names on there. We'll talk about some merchandise to buy. And most importantly, that ticket where you can go next week, where it's going to be that last tournament you'll ever see. But ladies and gentlemen, I know our guest does his own show, but we do things a little differently here on Sportswire Radio. And I like to give our guests an introduction that they'll remember, or maybe they won't remember. Maybe you won't want to come back. I hope you will want to come back after this and promote what's going to happen ahead, but afterwards. But in the famous words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rock, baby, because I know our chat will want to hear this, wrestlers will want to hear this, and our guest is like, what have I signed up for? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one level radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So, with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one level sports show, a man that is the host of the Flesh Wound Features podcast and also the promoter behind next weekend's tournament, the last tournament on the left. His name is simply but Wound my friend, how are we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing after that? You got to be blown up already.
I do it. You know, it's funny you say that. Now, I will tell you one story real quick. About almost 2 years ago now, I was doing an interview with I do a lot of UK wrestling. I did, and I had it on a UK general manager, almost kind of like you, promoter, and I was doing my intro. Now I do War Chants, and it's a longer one. I didn't do it as long, and I clutched my chest, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack on the air. My guest looked at me, and I went, oops, and I went up, and I did everything, and no, I mean, I've been doing this literally. I do it almost every day. I mean, I would say I've done this literally, what are we up almost to about 280 days in the year. I've probably done about 260 of these, 270 of these.
Oh, wow.
So at this point, yeah, You just kind of get used to it. I like to say I'm the Brett the Hitman Hart of podcasting, not in terms of wrestling or podcasting skills, but in terms of my sheer durability before that kick he famously got. But you're going to talk about some people that are going to give plenty of kicks. You're going to talk about some different things while we want to kickstart our hearts here. But Flesh Wound Dan, I'm excited about you coming on here. I want to thank our friend Danny Flores, a guy that set this opportunity up for us. So for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, my friend Flesh Wound Dan, talk about what we can expect next weekend on the other side of the country where I am from in that last tournament on the left.
So I've got a long history with pro wrestling, but we're also Flesh Wound Features. We're a horror podcast.
Very cool.
Primarily. We all have roots in wrestling.
Sure.
We didn't know each other at the time, but Todd, Pugs, and I, we all went to XPW back in the day.
Yeah, I talked a lot about XPW here in the past.
Yeah, we all were there. We didn't know each other at that time, but that's kind of where I guess we sort of, you could trace some of the inspiration for the wrestling.
Nice.
There was a promotion called UEW that kind of filled the void, I suppose, for a lot of people when XPW went away.
Yeah.
And that's where particularly Todd, our producer, he did a lot of work for UEW with their pay-per-views and Blu-rays and all of that. And then that went away. So we've been talking the last, I'd say really seriously the last few years. We're just like, man, something's missing. And we're a horror podcast. So we're like, what if we bring the world of horror movies and deathmatch wrestling into one giant event? And we talked about it, and we were running down movies. It's like, how would we translate Reanimator to a death match? Maniac, Joe Spinell, Maniac. How are we going to translate that to a death match? And certain things have been easier than others. I mean, Hellraiser, barbed wire, fish hooks, that kind of writes itself. But it's been fun putting together these things. I've got the weirdest Amazon cart that you've ever seen right now, because I've been buying weapons and different gimmicks for this, and it's been very, very strange. So
well, it's a strange journey, definitely strange. And I have the poster up for it. I have the website as well where we can buy a ticket, which we're excited about. And I'm looking at the card here, and off the bat, there's two names I've talked about here in the past on this platform over the past couple of years. One of them is the Body I've talked about in passing, but the other one I really have to zero in on, because he has been on here many times and he is a staple on my platform, and that is Sergeant Jimmy Controversy, a man that he's definitely gone to bat for me in a couple of different things, which probably to some would say, oh, well, that's not a good thing for me to say, but some people have their opinions. But Jimmy has been on here many times. He is a part of this tournament, and what can we expect from Sergeant Jimmy Controversy here, the murder worshiper himself?
Well, I have it on good authority he might be bringing an equalizer with him for this event. But so he is going to be in our first round match, taking on Michael Kruger in the Maniac death match.
Wow.
Inspired by Maniac, the classic 1980 Joe Spinell slasher film. And Michael Kruger, he is a very mean, nasty, unpleasant man, and I think he's planning to do some police brutality.
Well, Jimmy is always talked about law and order, and that may not bode so well for him, because he's on this platform in many places. He's wrestled and always talks about law and order, and if you follow Jimmy on social media, he's very vocal in his opinions on other things. So this might not bode too well for the Sarge.
No, and neither man has ever competed in this match. This is a first-time match, and the only way you can win, there will be mannequins, gusset plates, and staple guns surrounding the ring. And the only way to win is to rip the scalp off of one of our lovely mannequins surrounding the ring and staple or impale it onto your opponent's head. So whoever loses that is not going to have a good night.
I mean, when you say those objects, yeah, definitely don't try those at home. So, I mean, so what do you expect there in a match like this? Obviously, Jimmy's been on here a lot over the past couple of years. I mean, so what do you expect there in store coming up?
So there is a little bit of history between these two. Actually, Michael Kruger attacked Sergeant Jimmy Controversy at Johnny Phillips' deathmatch birthday party and laid him out. So he's looking for revenge in this one. This is going to be something like, again, you've never seen before. The aesthetics of this match are going to be really interesting. We've combed the internet, and we have not found any kind of stipulation like this before.
Wow, if the internet didn't have it, that's boy, you've done your work. And yet we put the poster up here. It's a death match that involves gusset plates, staple guns, and mannequins. Boy, this is definitely maybe not even for the stunt double at heart here, and it's coming up very soon. And yeah, death matches don't take no for an answer, and Jimmy might be in for a long night based on what's in store, and I'm sure he'll be, hopefully for his sake, prepared for this. But he's got to travel to the other side of the country. He's done this before many times, and I guess we'll have to find out how it shapes up for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. We'll certainly come back, I'm sure, to him. And let's go to the next match. I have all the posters up, so I want to do that. And another man I've spoke about here in the past, I think Jimmy Controversy's actually talked about him, and actually he's wrestled him, which is the Body. The Body is another interesting figure, and we'll have to not say the most viral part in wrestling. You can figure that out, but we've got a sleepaway camp death match, beehives, ladders, and chairs. Yeah, I don't think I've heard about that before, and I don't know if I'll hear about it after. And what on earth? This is why it is the last tournament on the left match. I mean, what can we expect here, Flesh Wound Dan?
So there's going to be a beehive with, we'll just leave it a secret, but some methods, some terrible things that you don't want to be hit with. And yeah, so the Body, obviously very controversial figure. This is his, I believe his first match back in the California area in a little while.
Yeah, I've talked about him a few times on it. Jimmy Controversy, I know, has wrestled him, and I think he's come up in GTS. So for sure, this is a guy that I've definitely mentioned here and there over the past 2 years, no question.
Yes, if you go back and watch like some of his XPW stuff versus Flack, and he's had some bangers. And Guy Cool is stepping out of his element because this is his death match debut.
Ooh,
yes,
boy.
The party captain has never competed in anything like this, so
he's stepping into unfriendly territory. He may be cool, but this ain't going to be anything but cool.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be a really interesting match because it's two guys, very different styles. I think it's going to be very athletic. They're going to do some crazy shit with the ladder, I'm sure.
Nice.
And yes, I think this one is the one I'm personally most curious about because I was
going to ask you about that. That's interesting, you know, and it ties into right now what I just came back from watching, which is the playoffs. It's a wild card matchup almost because it's again somebody in Guy Cool. It's not his element. The Body has done some of this. He's been around, and it's one of those unpredictable type of matches. You know, we've talked a lot on Sportswire this week with unpredictability. Last night, we talked about that with Dave Jameson and Ampo the Destroyer. We talked about being unpredictable. Tuesday, we had on Stefan Havoc, who is wrestling today for X Brand Wrestling in an ultra-violent ladder match. We talked about being unpredictable. And this is, to me, one of those matches that you would also say is really unpredictable in what to expect.
Absolutely, yes. And I think it's going to be very athletic. I think this one, Body's known for viral moments, and I suspect you will get that in this match. So, yeah, it's going to be unique. If you know the Sleepaway Camp films, they're very...
Yeah, I'm thinking about that now. Now I'm thinking about it. Those were the ones that I remember as a kid growing up. Yeah, Cover Your Eyes. You know, my mother enjoyed watching those movies. She's probably not watching this at the moment, but she would probably enjoy this type of match because she loved the horror movies. And actually, you can't quite see it, but in the background somewhere, I do have the first Friday the 13th movie poster hanging up on my wall. But yet, nevertheless, I'll be looking forward to watching this match. But that'll be one that will be very anticipated to see. Also, if you want to buy a ticket, I'll put the link up for that where you can visually see it. But you can go to the Flesh Wound Features website, sites.google.com/view Flesh Wound Features. So we'll come to show you the physical link, but let's get to some more from the card. And it's very, very exciting. We're very honored to have on here Flesh Wound Dan, and there is a lot to talk about here on this card for sure. Also, I see that we've got the entrant number 8, which I want to talk about very shortly. I have the poster for that, which is on your Instagram page. So, obviously, we've got a man I know, actually, Mr. Dredd himself, Judge Joe Dredd. And I mean, he's going to be a part of this as the number 8th participant. What can we expect from this man, who I know very well?
Yeah, Dredd well, he's been amazing for a long time, but the last year or two, he's really broken out. He made it to the finals of Tournament of Death for CPW against Shaq.
Yep, that was a couple weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah, he's killed it. He's slowly becoming the #1 deathmatch wrestler.
Yeah, he and I know each other actually a little bit. Actually, you want to laugh? He was supposed to have come onto my platform about 4 months ago. And ironically enough, the reason he didn't come on, he got tickets last minute to a Yankees-Tigers game.
So, okay.
Yeah, which is okay, which is kind of, it's a circle of life because today I was running late because I was watching a Yankees versus Blue Jays game. So in a way, I can't hold it against him. So, yeah, he's, I mean, a man that is well known. I mean, just, this, I just, to me, he's going to be looked at off the bat as maybe one of the favorites.
For sure. I mean, he's just been mowing through people lately, and well, I don't believe he's ever faced the Insaniac, which will be his opponent in round 1 in the Tromaville death match. Which, if you're, yeah. So that one is going to feature a barbed wire mop. And
I don't know if I've heard that before. I have Mickey Vargas and Ox McCoy here. These are two of the most deathmatch guys that come on my platform. I don't know if I've heard of that before. I mean, maybe somebody wants to put me through that, but I don't know if I've heard that until now.
No. So Tromaville deathmatch, these are all first-time matches. There's going to be, let's just say, special light tubes. And a lot of unique carnage in this, inspired by, of course, the Toxic Avenger and Tromaville.
Okay, yeah. I do know the Toxic Avengers. I always think about the Exodus song, the Toxic Waltz. But let me ask you one question before I go to the other matches. So what was the preparation like in putting, obviously you're the one that's helped put this card together. So, I mean, how long did it take you to put this all together? Because, I mean, you did a lot of things that are really a first. I mean, I give you a lot of credit. So what was the preparation like in putting the card together?
So we really wanted to focus on some guys on the West Coast deathmatch scene, although we certainly, we have the body coming in.
Jimmy. Yeah. From Miami.
Yeah, Jimmy. But, kind of put a spotlight on some guys and really give people some first-time matches within this unique sort of Halloween season concept that we have for the show. So we really did. We really wanted to highlight the West Coast. Somebody like the Insaniac, who's going up against Dredd. He's been around over a decade. He's not a rookie by any means. No. He's a very unique individual. And I think that's going to be a really hard-hitting match. And I'm just, again, it's an honor to have Dredd at the show.
Yeah, I mean, one of those guys that people, when you put together shows, you want to have Judge Joe Dredd on there. I mean, there's just no question that he is a name that you have him on your show. That is like an endorsement, a major endorsement.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was in XPW.
Yep.
And just you know, slowly just rose to the top
Yeah.
in XPW.
Yep.
And I have no doubt at some point, if XPW comes back, he'll be XPW champion. He's
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah,
it's an honor
absolutely.
to have him at the show. And if you haven't seen him live, that's a totally different experience.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. And by the way, before I get back to things, you do have a YouTube channel, and I like people to give you a sub because
Yes.
you're out there. You're almost at 2,000 subs. I know how that goes because I'm almost there as well. So definitely hit this. Yeah, I'm almost there. So you're almost there. I'm almost there, and I want to talk about the next match I had up in front of me, which I'm excited. I think I might be most excited about this name title you put up there. A Reanimator death match, not to be confused with a Linkin Park album, but that's not going to be counted toward that. But you do have JD Horror and Hex, and what can we expect here? Again, inspired by Reanimator. I mean, yeah, death matches definitely don't take a no for an answer after this. But what can we expect here?
So yes, JD Horror is going to be accompanied by the lovely Giggles, is taking on Hex for the West Coast championship, and it is going to be a Reanimator death match. Now this one, I won't tip my hat. Like you talked.
Yeah, don't. And you have a hat here, so you literally shouldn't do that. Yeah,
there you go. Well, so I can say there's going to be syringes in this one. Hex, well, JD, I should say, cut a very inappropriate, not safe for work promo.
Oh, okay. That means I shouldn't play it on my platform. Sure,
you could not play it.
Good. Thank you for letting me know.
You'd be demonetized very.
Yeah, I don't want that. I really don't want that. I've been trying a much more family-friendly tone these last few months. So thank you for telling me.
Not a family-friendly promo. So Hex has got a lot of reason to want to do awful things to JD, but yes, there's going to be syringes, light tubes, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's fans bring the weapons.
Oh, okay. Fans bring the weapons. Ox has been in one of those. He knows a little bit about those.
Sponsored by Tanky's Twisted Tool Shed, which if you're unfamiliar with Tanky, he creates some pretty insane stuff. So yeah, this is a non-tournament match for the title, and it is. I mean, Reanimator, if you're familiar with that movie, your mind can wander. That
was an 80s movie, another 80s movie, right? I'm pretty
1985,
sure.
Stuart Gordon, yes.
Okay, yeah, I do vaguely remember that. And you have obviously been inspired by that. And I think there won't be too many Giggles in this match, even though Giggles is going to be at ringside. But something tells me there won't be too many Giggles here. But that's another reason why you want to buy a ticket to the show, and we'll put another link up for that. So I'm going to make another change because we have a few more matches I want to get to. We'll get to some people in the chat. They want to say a few things. Plus, I got to still give you something. No, it's not going to wind up being a barbed wire or a light tube or anything else. But also, I have the next one, which I want to talk about. Well, you mentioned, I got that one. This is the one I wanted to put. This, another one, which you just have kind of alluded to, and here it is. It's a Texas Weed Whacker Massacre death match. I mean, I've talked about guys using weed whackers, but not quite a Texas weed whacker, and you have done that. And BC Killer and Sage Sin Supreme. I know Sage Sin Supreme a little bit, so I mean, this is definitely going to be doors, gusset plates, and a weak whacker, or as a weed whacker, you might want to say. So definitely not that weed, but what can we expect here?
So this is one when we were setting the card, we were talking about first time matches, and BC Killer and the Pumpkin Queen Sage Sin Supreme been around for a while. And we just kind of assumed like they had to have had a singles match. And when we really looked into it, no, they've been in some tag and multi type matches, but they've never had a one-on-one match. And if you're a deathmatch wrestler, I'm sure you will agree, getting hit with the weed whacker is among the more unpleasant things.
Yeah, I had on you'll be maybe surprised or not surprised. I had a wrestler on from West Virginia about a month and a half ago, and he talked about being hit with the weed whacker, and he had said it was one of the most painful things he went through in his entire career.
Yeah, no, they're awful. So this is going to be a very bloody, very violent match, and it will hit you in the Halloween feels.
And ironically enough, we're a few weeks out from Halloween, so
Yeah.
there you have it. So who do you think has the advantage here in a match like this?
Well, BC Killer certainly has the size advantage over Sage, but Sage is known for her signature match, the pumpkin patch death match, which I'm sure you can see some of those on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, you'll laugh at this. As a kid, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and one of my fonder memories as a child was going to the pumpkin patch. It was the pumpkin patch we had here, and it was on 16th Avenue, and I still pass by what it used to be, and I had a fond memory of going to a birthday party as a child at the pumpkin patch. But no, this is not going to be, I am sure, a fond moment for this particular match, but there'll be plenty of, I'm sure, Halloween objects, and this will be one of those that I will say no different about.
Yeah, no, this one's going to be insane. These two always bring it, and first time match with these two. They know each other. They had a bit of a confrontation just recently on our channel, so I think Sage is eager to prove that she's not the underdog just because she's the smaller competitor.
Let me ask you a question, because I have a few wrestlers, and maybe people will watch it later on. It's a Saturday night, but when you're looking to bring on talent, what would you give your advice as a promoter to, other deathmatch wrestlers to be involved in future shows? What's the maybe protocol, I don't know, or maybe advice that you'd have for maybe some wrestlers that are here or will watch this later on that may want to be on one of these shows coming up?
Yeah, I mean, never be afraid to send your matches to somebody. Because you may not be familiar with everybody, particularly that are still up and coming. We had a massive list of people we wanted for this, and obviously being the first one, we're like, oh, let's try and make the bulk of it West Coast, but I'm sure we'll have some more fly-ins in the future. Chances are I have watched your matches if you're out there, because we were really digging and trying to put together an interesting card. Don't be afraid to.
That must be a lot though, to go and sit through so many wrestlers. I have a few, like Mickey Vargas, who I would recommend. Ox McCoy, I'd certainly recommend. But that must have been a lot, because it reminds me of what you were talking about. I have a background in covering college basketball, particularly, and I would talk with these coaches, and they would sit there and they'd have to sit for hours and watch tape. And then when they were recruiting players, they'd have to go through what's called a mixtape. A player in high school, they have to make a mixtape, and they have to go out there, and the coaches would sit there and say, all right, you're looking for something. So that must have been a lot though, as a promoter, looking at just, I'm sure, hundreds of talents that you may have looked at. And that must have been a difficult process to just go through all that type of footage and such.
Yeah, there's some guys better than others, certain promotions you follow.
I mean, you judge Joe Dredd. I mean, you're gonna just not need to watch his footage, I mean, obviously.
Yeah. No, we know Dredd, and we know him from XPW, obviously. So he was one. I mean, we weren't necessarily sure if we could get him because he's such a busy guy.
Yeah.
But we were able to get him in this tournament. And so I mean, don't be afraid to send your matches to somebody. I mean, people will check. I got
a couple guys I'll probably DM. Mickey, Ox, I'll probably a few other guys that aren't here that I know. I'd probably DM your info, and I'll get to some people in the chat. But I do want to put up your YouTube link, which I'd like people to hit the sub button for, because you can see some content. You also do your own podcast, which actually went on before we went on the air, which is pre-recorded, but you do some other stuff. And I figured, why not just maybe plug your podcast for a few minutes? Maybe there's people here that, they're sick of hearing my war chant intros, and they might want to hear a more plain spoken fellow that might cover other things that maybe other people like. So if you'd like to talk about your podcast and what you do here in addition to wrestling, I think we should hear about it.
Oh, absolutely. Flesh Wound Features. We cover horror films, different cult films, and we do some watch alongs, all sorts of different things in the horror world. But we also have Squared Circle Society, which is the wrestling side of things, and We do a lot of live shows. We put out a lot of content. So
I see.
if you are a horror fan, check us out.
This must be a busy season for you then. Halloween, we're in the prime
yeah.
peak of it. I mean, you must be like, it's maybe for some people, Christmas is what they look forward to, but for you, this is almost like Christmas season, no?
It is. It is. This is actually the busiest October I've ever had. And
Wow.
because I actually live in Atlanta, so
I know we were talking. Danny put this together, who was like telling me you were on the Pacific time, and maybe I was confused, and then I was like, no, I'm on the East Coast time, and then you were in Atlanta, which I thought was fascinating, and we're getting to know each other a little bit.
Yeah. So I got to fly out on the 7th, and we'll get all the last minute stuff. It's running a show, as you can imagine, is hard, but there's a lot of little stuff where you're just like, okay, this is huge list, and it's like we're making sure we don't forget anything, making sure all the guys have their gimmicks. We probably could have done a documentary just on putting together the show.
I'm not surprised about that. I get a lot of different people on it, and also I want to plug some of the things you've done on the podcast. You got some footage, some video stuff. You've got BC Killers on here. You also did some movie reviews. I see a number of movies. I want to go check some of this out when we're off the air, because I see you did Meatballs 4, Corey Feldman. Oh boy, yeah, that's definitely a campy movie right there. Ernest Goes to Camp. I think Ernest died, a few years ago. Didn't Ernest die? Jim Varney, I think.
Oh,
right?
yeah, like 25 years ago.
Okay, 25. Okay, you know what? Why did I feel like? Well, it certainly feels like earlier, sooner than that. But you got Ernest. You got I didn't even know that Cuba Gooding Jr. did Boat Trip. I completely forgot about that. It's not you, but other people do that. Teenage Mutant Turtles 35th year anniversary. Obviously, that's an all-time classic, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, that's
most of our horror stuff's live, and that's Flesh Wound Farce, which is the comedy show. So we do all kinds of movies.
Okay.
So yeah, Flesh Wound Farce, actually, Ozzy V.
Scott Baio, I see here. Boy, yeah, that's definitely interesting. American Pie. Everybody knows about Superman. So you guys do a lot of movies too. Yeah, I mean, I used to do movies years ago. I did a movie podcast with a buddy of mine.
Nice. Yeah. So you get a little bit of everything at Flesh Wound Features, and we're a team. So we're all putting this on together, and it's been wild. Actually, I've got family that uses the same Amazon account that I have. They were looking at like, why are you buying staple guns and barbed wire?
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. I thought that was so interesting. I thought that was so interesting. And if you'd like to give a sub to the Flesh Wound Features YouTube channel, you can also, on the live streams, you can see some stuff here, like from the Squared Circle Society. You can see some different JD Hora, who's obviously going to be on the card. You can also see the body. I've spoke about Jimmy Contra. I mean, you spent 57 minutes with Jimmy. God bless you. You interviewed Jimmy for 57 minutes. I've had him on several times. I am shocked you got that long out of him, because Jimmy usually, after 35 minutes, he's like, I'm ready to go, and he goes off the deep end. But you got 57 minutes out of him. God bless. You got a lot of other content, a lot of different things. So if you'd like to, again, see maybe a more plain spoken intro, maybe people who are better well-spoken than I am, not the New York accent. No, I'm only kidding. Go out there and hit the sub button. Also, if you want to buy a ticket to the show, I got to put the link up for that. I got the official link, which I really like people to go out there and support. If you'd like to go out and support the show here, it's next weekend. What a deal that this show is, because, a lot of shows these days, you got to spend an arm and a leg to go see the kind of talent. But here, general admission, $25. Third row, $40. Second row, $40. VIP, $55 for some of the very best talent in the deathmatch world. And I'm telling you, you will not want to regret this. Listen, I went out not too long ago for dinner with a bunch of my friends and spent like $300. I can afford that, but a family can't. But this, you can take the family out long as they're of age, and even for $25, I mean, you have a great time. Buy some merchandise, buy some tickets, or if you want to do the VIP, still can do that. Family of 4, and it's unbelievable card. Many names we spoke about here in the past. and you want to buy some merchandise, you can do that also. We're here with the one and only Flesh Room Dan. Let me get to some people here in the chat. They want to talk to you. They want to say hello. I want to give them that opportunity, and we'll do that right now. Zilla is here first. How you doing, Zilla? Thank you so much for being here as always. And one of the guys I'm very high on, a man that has been on the same card of the likes of Masada, who's been in there with Smoke the Reaper, the one and only Mr. Mickey Vargas. And deathmatch is the best art form there ever was. There is a science to deathmatch wrestling, and I have an appreciation for deathmatch wrestling. I am all wrestling matters, and deathmatch wrestling is a very important form of wrestling that I agree with Mickey on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think West Coast style sometimes is a little different. And we're going to have kind of the best of both coasts at this show. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I certainly love my West Coast brethren, and you're right in the smack middle of it. Thank you, Zilla.
Yeah.
Also, that's the other site if you want to see more just on the general page of Flesh Room Features. And Loco Wrestling, I have to also give a plug. We were talking about Loco Wrestling. They have a big show next week where Zilla Fatu is going to be on the card. And we had on CJ Renegade here a few days ago some unbelievable talent also in the great state of Texas, the Lone Star State, which Mickey has now become a part of it. Ox McCoy, the enforcer of Sportswire Radio. Yes, that is what he looks like in real life, too. He eats, sleeps, and drinks blood. And right now he's on the shelf, but I'm sure he'd love to be a part of this. And Judge Joe Dredd is crazy. He is just a crazy guy, and you have him, and that's why you want to hit the sub button there. And also merchandise. You can get some merchandise as well. Want to buy tickets. And also, I didn't know this, but apparently Ox McCoy does Weed Whackers Tickle for sure. I'm not quite sure you can confirm this, but he can.
I would say that's not how I would describe it.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go defer to you and him. So that's what he says. He's been hit with one.
Yeah. I've actually, I've been hit with one in a non-wrestling sense, and it did not tickle. So you're a special. You're a special kind of man when it comes to paying Ox.
Yeah, well, you know what? He is a very special man. He's my enforcer, and Weed Whackers growing up in New York City, those weren't such a thing. We'd only see those in movies, but that's why I don't try this at home. But the Kensian doesn't feel too good either. Weed Whackers is next. That's a good point. It's a good point. And hit the sub button again for you. Also, Mickey Vargas, me versus Primo Cha was my best death match to date. I would like to send it to you, and I'll connect you. I'll take care of that because on Messenger, I'll take care of that. Also want to say hello to another podcaster, but also wrestler. He is the underground OG. He might be Quick Strike Johnny Velocity, but I'll refer to him from this YouTube page as Mr. Dark Chron. He's the host of the Dark Chronicles, and maybe he wants to talk to you for his own podcast because he also has a YouTube channel backup out there. That might be a good idea.
Nice.
And, well, I want to give you something. I know we got a little bit more time with you, and I want to give you something because, you've been generous with your time. You do a lot of podcasts. You're getting ready to tie in loose ends with this show, but I want to make it worthwhile and hope that you'll want to forgive me for the war chant intro and want to come back on the Sportswire Radio because it is your day here. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Your day. Yes, I do things differently. I'll give you the physical certificate when we're off the air, and wanted to make this known that it is Flesh Room Dan Day, Flesh Room Features, and congratulations. Thank you for what you're doing for our sport, and I just wanted to show my appreciation and hope that this will in some kind be one you'll remember.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Very cool about that. Okay, so I want to promote a couple of more things here. I know we've got some others that are going to be on the card, which I want to give them an opportunity for a few minutes to talk about. Also, I have here next on the poster there, Fern Owens is going to be in action here. Talk to me about what we're going to see from Fern Owens, the two-time Underground Empire Wrestling heavyweight champion, Blackheart Fern Owens.
Fern is one of those guys, again, been around a while.
Veteran.
If you get a chance to check out some of his stuff in UEW, he's amazing. Great promo, too. Great character. Fern is just fun. And he's going to be, I believe, competing on our pre-show, which is going to be on YouTube.
And I see I have a Patreon link also, which will link us to the pre-show. I have the Patreon link.
Patreon.com/.
I have it. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up in a few minutes.
Sweet.
I got the deal.
Yeah. So Fern will be in action on our pre-show, and you can see that on YouTube. And if you haven't had a chance to experience Fern, he's fantastic. I think you'll be seeing a lot of him in the future, because this pre-show, there will be some wrestling on the pre-show, but there will also be some surprises. So you'll want to stay tuned, because this show will have some big surprises / announcements. So
we like surprises, and he looks like a cross between Steve Blackman and Tajiri. Let's just put it that way. I don't know.
He does kind of, with the shorter hair, which he didn't always have.
He looks a little bit a cross of that. And Darkron just gave you a sub. Zilla just gave you a sub. So
thank you guys.
I've done my job today. I've done that. So we'll take that off the screen. We'll go to some of the other posters. We're also going to see Wyatt Two Shadows in action. We'll also see him coming up also for the card.
Yes, Wyatt's amazing, and you will get to see him in action as well on the kickoff show.
Excellent. And we also have on Jose Hendricks, not to be confused with Doc Hendricks, P.S. Michael Hayes, or also this guy whose anniversary of his death, unfortunately, a man I wrote a paper on in college, Jimi Hendrix, who's certainly not quite related. Jose is not quite related to Jimmy, but nevertheless, he will probably smoke a joint or two in honor of Jimmy. Maybe not, maybe not, but he'll be in action.
It's California, you can.
Yeah,
and he is a young up and coming talent. I'm very excited to have him on the kickoff show. I think you'll be hearing a lot of him in the future.
Oh, I think you definitely will. Also, Sean Black. I mean, Sean, there he is. Another guy I wanted to throw a plug out there. The Urban Juggernaut, another two-time UEW heavyweight champion.
Yes, Sean Black. He's competed a lot at Compton Mania, if you're familiar with that promotion. And he is, to date, the last UEW champion. So it's going to be cool to see him in person again. He is, as you can tell, a very unique, bright, cool individual.
Very bright. He's very bright, and I think he's got a bright future ahead here. And there is no question that he will always be remembered as they always say they remember you the first and the last. So there's no doubt about that. Also, we got some referees. I got to plug the referees. If I don't plug the referees, boy, we'll hear about it. I mean, Patrick Hernandez, XPW. I know that name. Biggie Biggs and Ref Danielle. I mean, we got without the referees, we can't have a match. So, want to talk about them for a few minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick Hernandez is a legend. He goes way back to XPW. This guy is he's reffed some of the biggest death matches out there. Biggie Biggs, of course, is also used to be in a tag team called the Heavy Hitters, and he knows how to handle these guys if they get too out of control. And Ref Danielle, she might be the toughest of the three. She takes no BS from anyone.
I could see that. Yeah, Ref Danielle definitely will be taking no prisoners there, to quote one of my favorite Megadeth songs. But you can also see some other things that are coming up. We've run through most of the card here so far. Also, this is what the tickets look like. I mean, look at these beautiful tickets. I mean, look at just the actual, just the tickets. I mean, how cool is that, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, you go out there and you can buy a ticket, fleshroomfeatures.com/merchandise tickets, and you can get a ticket of your own. You're going to remember this. I mean, this is a really cool thing, really cool event. I love seeing things like this. We've talked a lot about the show. This is the actual poster here that you're going to see all these great talents. I think we've talked about pretty much everybody on here. Let me ask you though this question before we move on and get to a few other final thoughts. What are some of your goals with the show coming up next Saturday?
We really want to give people an experience that they won't forget. It's not going to feel like just any other show. Like I said, the aesthetics and everything with these matches are going to be very unique. We take great pride in giving you something that you won't confuse this with another show you saw years from now. You will remember what you see at this event, and I think it'll be a great. Like I said, there's going to be some surprises, so I think this will end up being a historical show that people will look back on that jump started some other things.
Absolutely. And I do want to plug one more time here. This is where you can buy a ticket to the show. If you are nearby in the California area or the surrounding areas, you can buy a ticket here. It is coming up. It is the last tournament on the left. It is live professional wrestling. This is where it counts to support wrestling. This is where it counts to support. We can't have wrestling without supporting live wrestling. Live wrestling is the livelihood of our sport. We all love our sport. This is the definition of the blood, sweat, and tears, figuratively and literally. You're going to see just so many great talents, even if you've heard of them for the first time. Some you've heard before, but I mean, Judge Joe Dredd, Jimmy Controversy, JD Horror, Guy Cool, The Body, Michael Kruger, The Insaniac. I mean, there's just so many great people here that you have to go out there and please support them. I mean, this will make the difference. I can promise you on that. Also, we've got a Patreon page. I want to get to the Patreon page. That's where you can subscribe, even if it's free, $1, whatever you've got. Just please support. You can see all the great features. Pre-show is going to be live. You've got Squared Circle Society stuff, post about the show, collections, just a lot of great stuff. Creators, content creators put so much into their work. They put so much into their craft. This is the way you support them. Now, people know me on Sportswire, Mr. Dan. I don't solicit donations because I do well in life, but I want guys like you to get that content creation support, get that endorsement, even just subscribe it. It costs nothing. It costs nothing to hit a like. It costs nothing to hit a sub. It costs nothing to hit a follow. It costs nothing to share, and it costs nothing to tell your friends. And that's why you should support people like Flesh Wound Dan. Things like the last tournament on the left and Flesh Wound Features. This is what it's all about. I want to say hello to Princess Jade. Yes, please support. Also, I want to talk about one more thing before I get to final thoughts. Semifinals, we got a house of 10,000. I didn't even know that was possible. Yeah, this has definitely never happened before. And you got chicken buckets of death. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not going to KFC after this. So what's going to happen here in the semifinals?
Whoever advances to this match, and I think we'll have the official brackets dropping soon, but they will be dealing with some really awful things in those chicken buckets. I think if you're a fan of the Rob Zombie film,
I know, yeah, House of 10,000 Corpse, right?
Yep. Yes, I think there will be some
interest. You look like Rob Zombie a little bit, only you don't have the dreads and Sherry Moon Zombie, but yeah. Yeah.
No. Well, I don't have Sherry for sure, and
neither do any of us. But go ahead.
But yes, 10,000 thumbtacks, and well, wait till you see what's in the chicken bucket.
You know what? And this is why I don't go and eat KFC. People, as I was telling you, I was with a bunch of friends of mine in beautiful Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and we were talking about. They were like, Tom, you're in great shape, Tom. You don't do anything. And I'm like, that's because, well, now I have a reason because I just promote. They were talking about my show. I've seen you on Instagram, blah blah blah. And I said, this is why I don't go and have fast food or go and eat the chicken buckets because this is going to be something that, well, it's going to kill anybody. And that's why you need to go out and support it and let the wrestlers handle it. But yeah, those chicken buckets, I'm definitely not messing with them. I couldn't even tell you, Flesh Wound Dan, that when the last time I had anything from a chicken bucket, that's going to continue for a long time to come because who knows, but they don't call you Flesh Wound Dan for nothing. Just saying.
They do not. Yes, it's not going to be very savory what's in those buckets.
Yeah, you know what? That is why I'm going to continue my streak of not having things like Kentucky Fried Chicken or Popeyes. And, I appreciated the comments I got from friends. But also, if you are here before we get to closing thoughts and other things, this is the YouTube channel for Flesh Wound Features. Let's support those who support us. I continue to say it. It is free. It costs you nothing to hit a sub, to hit a follow, to hit a like, a share, to tell your friends. Let's support each other. No more about, this person, that person. Let's support those who support us, especially Flesh Wound Dan, who's put a lot of time into this show. Next Saturday, he has put a lot of effort into this, a lot of energy. And let's support those who support us. He has been generous with his time tonight, and I want to be generous with our time and support him. Let's support those who support us. Hit the sub button for us Also, it's his day here. We'll give you the physical copy. You can keep the change when I give you the certificate. I'm trying a career at stand-up comedy. You know, Dan, I did want to give it because I have a new button on Sportswire, and I hope you like it. So I want to give you this for coming on before we get to closing thoughts.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to do different things. All right, before I let you go, is there anything else you want to promote about the show or anything else that we haven't got a chance to touch upon tonight?
Well, you'll also, whoever makes it to round 2, there will be the Jaws death match, which will have shark teeth and pools of
Oh,
shit.
my mother would love that. She has seen the Jaws. There's a Jaws expo, I think, in Martha's Vineyard.
Yes.
And she's got the Jaws poster. And I remember as a little kid growing up in Brooklyn, there was the Jaws video game on Nintendo. And my mother played that video game. And I was like terrified of it because of the music. It was just like haunting music for Nintendo. So my mother will particularly love this poster.
Yes. Which I believe you actually get a poster if you buy a front row seat. So you have that as well. But yes, we're going to need a bigger death match. Saltwater and shark's teeth.
Where's Roy Scheider when you need him?
Ah, man.
You like that? Was a good one I pulled out of there. That was a good one. I would pull that out. That was a good one. Yeah. Where is Roy Scheider when you need him? Yeah, definitely not Richard Dreyfuss, but that's going to be exciting. Boy, you really got it all covered. I'll tell you what. Halloween seasons come early, and this will, by the way, I want to put this out before we set up. This is going to take place on October 11th, next Saturday. It's going to be at the Metroflex Gym. It's going to be at 12551 East Carson Street in Hawaiian Gardens, California, 90716, and the doors open 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, bell time 7 o'clock. General admission, obviously, is $25, $30 at the door. That reminds me, when I played basketball, it was always an extra when you went to the door, not by the presale. Front rows, $55. Second and third rows, $40. FleshWoundFeatures.com. Also, Facebook, Flesh Wound Features. I couldn't, unfortunately, put up the Facebook link because I'm locked out of Facebook on my laptop. Have no idea why. But also, if you're on Instagram, I want to put a plug for Flesh Wound Features. You can see all the content. Dan does a lot of podcasting on his own YouTube channel. We've been putting it up throughout the hour. So please go out there and support him. Like I said, it doesn't cost a thing to hit a follow button or a like, a share, or just a word of encouragement. And Jimmy Controversy's on this card, a man that has been on Sportswire many times. So if you like Jimmy Controversy on Sportswire, you'll probably like him getting beat up by Michael Kruger, or maybe you won't. Maybe we'll be cheering Jimmy Controversy by Michael Kruger coming up here next week. But obviously, you've been very generous with your time. I want to thank you so much for all you're doing for our sport, and I can't wait to talk with you maybe after this event. And I like to pass the baton to you to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you may want to plug, share, or say, Flesh Wound Dan? You have definitely lived up to your name and your billing, and the floor is yours, my friend.
Sure. Yes. If you show up at last tournament on the left, I think you're going to get an epic, one-of-a-kind event. I know there's some guys in this too that really have something to prove. They really want to break out. And I know that this is going to be something very memorable. Obviously, I'm one of the promoters, so I'm gonna say that. But I can tell you, even if I wasn't involved in the show, knowing what's in store for you guys, you are going to have a blast. And it's a cool crew. And I think this is going to be something a little different, and I think it will appeal to horror fans as well as wrestling fans.
Oh, absolutely. No, listen, I mean, I think that there's something for everybody. I mean, there's different people that may have different skill sets or different experiences, but I think everybody brings something to the table, which I think it's going to make it a really cool show. I think it's definitely something that fits with what's in line about what we talk about here, which I think is very important. And I keep thinking about the last tournament on the left. I'm also reminded of the song Last Time in Paris by the band Queensryche for the movie The Adventures of Ford Fairplane. That was another way back. Yeah, that was another. That was Vince Neil was in the movie and got killed. No, he didn't kill Razzle of Hanoi Rocks, but in that particular one, he gets killed in the movie, and that's a way. I've had a lot of bands on sports. I've had LA Guns, Great White, horror bands. Some would say LA Guns and Great White and Kicks and King's X. So that's another plug for me. But the most important plug is to support Dan, support what he's doing. And if you are here out there, I'll give you his information, and he'll see if he'd like to maybe have you for his show, and maybe we'll talk about more of this in the future. I'm very excited about it. Again, very many friends of the show are on this card that we've talked about. So great stuff there. And my friend, thank you so much for spending an hour with us. And I hope it wasn't a charity case, but it was a lot of fun. And it's a joke. I'm trying a career at stand-up comedy in case this doesn't work. So, it seems to be working. My jokes went over pretty well yesterday, but nevertheless. No, I thank you for your time, and you were awesome. And thank you for, in all seriousness, thank you for all that you're doing for our sport. Thank you for giving people an opportunity to go out there and put their blood, sweat, and tears out there and do something that they love. I think that to me is what you're doing most, and you should be commended upon that. And I thank you. And I thank you for everything that you've done for our sport, and even spending an hour with us. I can't thank you enough. And I hope people take away that message. And I'm looking forward to seeing you here again.
Absolutely. I'll be back. Thank you so much.
I'll be back. There he is. That is Flesh Wound Dan, and he is the promoter, or one of the promoters behind Flesh Wound Features. Next event coming up next Saturday. It is the last tournament on the left. It may or may not be the last dance for some of these wrestlers. A house of 10,000 thumbtacks, jaws, gusset plates, weed whackers, everything in the kitchen sink will be used, probably figuratively and literally. And you'll see some names like, how about Judge Joe Dredd, Sergeant Jimmy Controversy, our own Jimmy Controversy, The Body, Guy Cool, Michael Kruger, The Insaniac. It's just a long list. JD Horror. It's a long list of great talents. You need to go out there and support them. Please support all of them. Also, Flesh Wound Features is on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon. You name a site, and the most important site to go is to buy a ticket. And one more time, you can go there at fleshwoundfeatures.com/merchandise tickets. That's where you can get more information on the show. And Dan will definitely be back to talk about it. And this will be next Saturday. Please go out there and support. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally with all music and wrestling matters. If you're here on Sportzwire Radio, I'll be here tomorrow night around the same time, same bad channel with another promoter, Hubie Jenkins of the EWA, and they'll be talking about their own show coming up, which I don't think will have as many obstacles or objects as you'll be using. But nevertheless, we'll talk about it. We'll compare and contrast. And maybe not. But until then, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And hit the sub button for us, hit the like button for us, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one, Global Radio, the Sportswire Radio, with all music and wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Support Flesh Wound Dan.